Horrible. Horrible, horrible, Ziggy. Of course, they blocked the kick. Was there any doubt?
Go, Pack, go! Go,
Unreal.
Pack, go! I'm a happy man today. My two teams getting the dub. Go Steelers, go Packers.
No, JJ, cut out that my two team stuff. Come on.
It's just ridiculous. We're watching the end of the game here, and it's it's 19-13, or what was it, 19-12? What was the score? 19-14? Yeah, it was 19-14. And we're just thinking here, okay, like this is primed for the Packer 2019 win, right? So of course Christian Watson gets the pass. Of course we're watching the highlight of it right before, right, like when they're trying to see if the ball hit the ground. If it was the Packers catching it, obviously it's going to be a catch. We were thinking if the Bears were in that situation, obviously the ball would have hit the ground first. So Green Bay takes the 20-19 lead, and I look over at Jack. I'm like, there's just no way, right? Like, there's no way the Bears can, like, given the history of all this, and everyone knows Jack, the Caleb Williams hater. It's like, no, I don't believe it for a second.
Caleb gets sacked twice.
Sacked twice. We're
Right
like,
off the
okay,
bat.
3rd and 19, game over. This is it. Next thing you know, the two really, really nice plays from Caleb to Roma Dunze. They go down the field, and I look over at Jack. I'm like, holy crap. Like, you're about to be naked on the stream, because if anyone missed it in the the preview show, Jack said if Caleb Williams beats the Packers today, I will be naked on our show. And Jack's like, oh my God,
I'm
this is
gonna be
happening.
naked.
And they line up, and for a second, Ziggy, I was fooled. For a brief moment, I had been fooled, and I looked at Jack and said, I think Santos puts this right between the uprights. Like, this feels like a Bears win. They snap the ball. Kick is up. Oh, not up. Blocked. Of course, Green Bay wins. Jordan Love's running around the field. I was like, you got to be... Only the Packers.
Ziggy, are you disappointed?
Unreal.
I'm not naked on this show.
I mean, I just put out a poll in the chat. Was this Packers victory BS? Because I'm just like, I mean, of course, right? The Green Bay Packers, they're a blue sky
Oh my
franchise.
gosh.
Everything goes great for them. They exist just to torment us. But like the way this played out, I mean, I kind of can't believe I'm saying
It's
it 'cause I was on Team
unbelievable.
Jack, but Caleb Williams played well enough to beat the Packers. I mean, he wasn't perfect. This Bears team wasn't perfect, but like, yeah, the NFL, Jake Al's got it right. The NFL script writer just came at the last second and said, the Packers win this every time. We can't let that happen. We get a text from our friend Weston Dell, longtime Bears fan, longtime Paul Farrington show fan. Just,
He said,
I
hate the
hate
Packers.
the Packers. And I can see why. This was unbelievable.
That might be a better title for this video. Just, I hate the Packers.
We were thinking like it was gonna just go left or bounce off the upright, but blocked that's just more fitting.
Well, you know this
No, I
one
mean,
probably
the
would have
Packers
gone in.
did it. Like they blocked the punt and here the kick. And like you think of all the special teams problems this team has had all year. The fact that when they need special teams the most, they just show up to block a field goal out of nowhere.
I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing my ass off. Like, it was hysterical. I was sick to my stomach, but I was also laughing because of course the poor Bears. Like, just when your rookie quarterback goes on this unbelievable drive, like, actually looks good most of the day. I know Jack was only saying he was just running the whole time, but Caleb has this great drive to set him up for the win, and that's a win that actually would have put the Bears back in playoff contention. And with the way they played today, the defense that they have, Bears fans had the right to be a little excited, and it was just the perfect fitting or the perfect ending to a horrible, horrible week in Chicago. Like, this is Bears fans. Ziggy and I went to school out in Indiana. We went to a Bears Vikings game on Sunday Night Football. Great atmosphere. The Bears were playing well. They didn't even care about the Vikings. They were chanting like Packers suck, walking out of the tunnel. Everyone in that stadium, you could feel the like explosion about to happen. I mean, it's been a quarter of our lives since the Bears have beaten the Packers. And for it to end on a blocked field goal is just so dumb.
There is a silver lining though for Bears fans that it was a fantastic cover. They were getting 6.5. They covered the spread.
First cover in 6 years.
Yeah, no one thought they were going to cover this game, and it was an easy cover. I mean, it was really never really a point where Green Bay was comfortable with the cover.
I don't think that Bears fans are going to be happy about that. But I mean, everybody's going to be talking about the end of this game. And I think fair enough, right? It was a big end to the game. But looking beyond that, from the Packers' perspective, I know you won the game. I know Matt LaFleur said in his post-game interview right after he's not going to apologize for a win. But the Packers did not look good today. Their third down defense against the Bears was horrendous. I can't believe how many times I said this before the show. DeAndre Swift was the key to the offense. And
He was good.
the Packers knew
today.
that coming in. They could not stop the Bears on third down. And then on the flip side, they were able to get the ball into the red zone. And when they were, the red zone offense was, no red zone touchdowns. They couldn't get it done. So I don't know. I'm worried. Like, this was not a game, I think, if you're a Packers fan, where you're walking away feeling very happy about it.
No. You know what though, Ziggy? Here's what it is that any Packers fan will admit they did not play their best football today. But when you're able, especially on the road, especially in a division game where I know the history is they just own Chicago, but when you can go on the road against a division opponent who wants to beat you so badly, you don't have your A game. For most of the games, Chicago outplayed them. Most categories, Chicago won on the stat sheet. But the only one that matters is the scoreboard at the end of the day. And I know that Green Bay fans are probably sitting back a little uneasy about the performance, but they've escaped a lot of games this year. They're 7-3. Like, this is, a win is a win, and it needs to get cleaned up for them to go on the Super Bowl run that they want. But if they lost this game, that's what I was saying earlier in the show today. I'm a little nervous about some of the upcoming matchups. And if you drop a couple, now you're like teetering on wild card berth. But to get the win when you're not playing your best, you take it. Winning's hard in the NFL, and I'm so bummed out because I thought for a second we were going to see a Packers team on the verge of like a playoff, maybe even elimination at some point later this year. And now I'm like, all right, they're just the Packers. They find ways.
What they need to clean up is, and I guess this goes for mainly Jordan Love, of course, are those turnovers. Because I do believe that early in this game, they're up 7-3, they're marching. If Love doesn't throw a pick as they're about to score again, if it's 14-3 off the bat, I think Green Bay can run away with it. But that gave him life right there with that interception.
Oh yeah, I thought 100%.
I thought that was a total game changer. Like, if he doesn't throw that pick and Green Bay goes up 14-3, I believe there's a world they run away with this game.
So let us know in the comments section right now how you're feeling after this win. It always feels great in the NFC North when you beat an NFC North team. And for the Packers Bears, which, as I said, upsets me that's the key rivalry in our division. Packers fans, I would be through the roof. Like, this is such a big victory against against Chicago.
You can't be through the roof after this,
dude. What do you mean? We blocked the kick. Like, if I'm a Packer fan, I'm saying we blocked the kick to beat the Bears. Like, that's amazing for them.
They played a poor game. The Bears played a good game, and Green Bay still found a way to win on the road.
Yeah, it's. I think it's huge.
The Bears played well. The Bears were able, for the most part, to run all over Green Bay today, and Green Bay was sloppy. And what felt like was going to be a Bears win for most of the game, Green Bay ends up winning.
Stop it, Ziggy. Ziggy commented, Paul, closet Packers fan here in the comments.
We said we blocked a kick.
Yeah, I'm talking as if I were a Packer fan. Chill out, man. Chill out. But seriously, look, they got San Francisco next week. Then they have Miami and Detroit. Like, 3 teams that are playing good football right now. You had to win this game. You really did. And even though it's in Chicago, you had to come away with the win. They didn't play good football. They still won. Yeah, Jake L is right. The scriptwriters brilliantly did this one to screw over the Bears fans. So where are you feeling, Ziggy? If as the closeted Packers fan, if there was one on this show,
that wouldn't be me.
You're nervous, right? You're unhappy.
Yeah, I think the mistakes from this game loom larger in the mind of a Packers fan than the success.
Let us know in the comments section.
I know that, like I said earlier, they didn't have any touchdowns in the red zone. That's not quite right, but they're mistakes, right? That interception, that turnover on downs, that I think looms larger. So ultimately, a win is a win, right? You can keep saying that, and that's true. But we were hoping coming out of this game, if you were a Packers fan, to see them return to some of that form from last year, because they got some tough games coming up, right? Their next 3 games, they host the 49ers, they host the Dolphins, who have looked like a much better team with Tua, and then they go to Detroit. Now, the good news, you're 7-3, right? I know the teams ahead of you are 8-2 and 9-1, but with 2 games against the Lions left and a game against the Vikings on the schedule, 1 game against the Lions left. If the Lions drop a game, you have a chance to win this division. It's not totally gone. But if the Packers want to beat the better teams, the only real good win on their schedule, as far as I can see, is beating the Texans, who were sort of reeling. Where Dalton Schultz, with his one reception for 28 yards, was the leading receiver. We need more from the Packers if we want to see them go on a long run this year, because I haven't seen enough from them, if I'm a fan, to think that they can really compete with the best teams in the NFC.
I mean, I definitely would have liked to see them, and I said this before on the when we were previewing it. Like, after losing to Detroit and then having a week off to prepare for the Bears, I would have liked to see Green Bay come out and kick the crap out of Chicago. But what you're saying, Ziggy, and I do agree, it obviously is, it does hurt when you're making mistakes and turning the ball over. But you look at the turnover on downs, the pick, as I stated before. I don't think these are things that are necessarily going to last. And if you can just capitalize all those opportunities, this game isn't close.
Okay. I kind of disagree with Ziggy's thought here. I think it's big to get the win. Chicago's not a bad team. Chicago has bad capabilities, but they've had many games this year.
The Bears hadn't scored an offensive touchdown in like 3 games.
Yeah, but they have a strong defense, and when Caleb plays well, the offense is functionable. And like Caleb played well.
The Bears said they played a good game, and the Packers were sloppy, and the Packers still went in there and won the game.
It is crushing for Chicago. So wait, I want to turn over real quick to Chicago. We'll get back to Green Bay in a second here. I thought if you're a Bears fan, obviously you're crushed. It sucks that they continuously lose games on last-second field goals, and now we're just starting to get into all sorts of field goal mishaps for Chicago at the end of games. But I thought Caleb looked pretty good today, and he moved well. Like his arm, the last drive, I really was impressed with him. He had Chicago in the position to win the football game, and after the tumultuous week that they had, with Shane Waldron getting kicked out and Thomas Brown taking over, I thought Chicago really easily could have fallen apart on the field today. And maybe it was the Love turnover when it could have been 14-3. But this had the makings of a disaster game for Chicago after the start. I was really impressed with the way they battled back. And the team played with a lot of heart today. And you could see it on the field. Obviously, disappointing loss. But I think that this was overall a moral win. if you want to take those, a moral win for Chicago.
But I'm here. This game convinced me as much as any other that Matt Eberflus needs to leave.
Whereabouts?
As soon as possible. Here's where, like, Matt Eberflus, he coaches like a coward. It's true. You don't settle for a 46-yard field goal in that situation. They left 10 or 15 yards on the field. They gave up on running offensive plays way too early. And honestly, if instead of a 46-yard field goal, that's a 35-yard field goal, I think it's pretty unlikely.
Probably get the lift on it.
But I mean, again, I'm not happy with how he's coached this season. The team rebelled on him. He didn't really have a response to that. We've seen mistake after mistake. This is just another situation, I think, where Matt Eberflus not coaching well has caused problems. And I worry, honestly, that this was close enough to beating the Packers and close enough to having a real win that he might have bought himself some time with the organization. I sure hope not, but who knows? You can't be, if you're a Bears fan, you're not happy with this guy. If there's any Bears fan here, if you're happy with Matt Eberflus, please let me know.
Oh, yeah. They all want to move on from Eberflus. He's more of a defensive
I'm not saying you have to
coordinator.
fire him like this second. I'm saying you have to fire him the second you can start getting a advantageable head start on a head coaching search.
Ziggy, would you have gone for 2 if you were the Bears up 19-14?
Probably.
Ziggy said, of course.
You would have, you think?
Well, the numbers said it. So Ziggy has no feel for the game. He just goes on what the numbers say.
Being up 6 versus being up 8 is a huge difference.
I mean,
or being up 7.
Well, it's but Ziggy, if they kick the field goal, I looked at Jack when they did that, and I said
the extra point, it's 20-20, and then we're going to overtime instead of losing.
No, but if you kick the, I mean, it's hard to work out all of the counterfactuals, right? Are we going to overtime? Who knows? The Packers play it differently. Like, you don't know. But when you're a team that's not expected to win,
right. That was stupid. Packers also won too.
When you're a team that's not expected to win, and you have an opportunity to take a commanding lead, or just any decent lead at all, you have to take it. Playing let's try and extend the game, let's go to overtime, let's see what we can do.
Overtime? What are you talking about? The Packers are a better team than the Bears. Third quarter. I think that's a lot of people. Like, you look at the numbers, and like, they're numbers for a reason. They're stats for a reason. maybe I need to look more into it. But I think there are so many times when I'm watching a football game and 1 point. I mean, 1 point is massive. You hear coaches talk about it, you hear play like 1 point in the NFL is a very big point. And it just felt too early in the game. Now, look, the Packers, again, at the end of the game would have kicked a field goal, 21-20. You could play all the games. I just don't like going for 2 that early. And I get it. Numbers said differently, but that was just how I felt about it in the moment.
Now, Ziggy, in hindsight, knowing they didn't convert, would you have gone for it?
Knowing that you're not converting, I would consider going for it, but barely decide against it.
Yeah, and a good point here. A couple people have been mentioning Jair Alexander didn't really play. So no Jair Alexander is a big loss on this Packers defense. I mean, he's the best cornerback in that room. And there were a lot of times where, I mean, the Bears on third down on some of these drives today. What'd they say, Jack? They're like, this is a new Bears team today.
Yeah, they said this looks like a new
Chicago
Bears team today.
It was...
I was going to open up the show with that if Chicago had won.
The Packer offense had a lot of mistakes. Again, in the red zone, failing to convert into touchdowns. That's what we said on the pregame show. You gotta score, because against the Bears, when you're the Packers playing the Bears, you could get away with a lot of stuff.
But like, it's not even settling for field goals. It's they threw a pick.
No, I'm sure.
Like,
sure.
that's
Just
worse.
not scoring touchdowns in general. Like against the Lions, who look like the best team ever. Against the Lions, gotta score touchdowns. Yeah. Against the Eagles, have to score touchdowns. Now, the good thing for Packers fans...
Steelers, you got to score touchdowns.
Steelers just kick a field goal, you win the game. But for the good thing for Packers fans is you have 6 weeks to figure it out, and you're 7-3. You're not playing good football. But you need to start seeing these bad red zone possessions turn into touchdowns, and can't have the sloppy mistakes, or else it's going to cost them in the playoffs. Like it really is going to.
And next week is that's the golden tuna next week.
San Fran.
If they can go and beat San Fran,
you host them too.
I'm right back on board 100%.
What are you thinking, Ziggy?
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
As I say, like Justin Zarata said, right? An ugly win is a win nonetheless. It's nice for the Packers, and honestly, with this win, I think their NFC wildcard bid is more or less wrapped up. At 7 wins at this point in the season, it's very hard to lose. So now it's just about working things out internally, getting the team better, and getting ready to play some tough games.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's right there behind them. Well, it's still close, Ziggy. I mean, you still have the Cardinals, Commanders, 49ers. Like they're all there. The Rams are playing better football right now, although the Packers have the tiebreaker.
No, but I mean, you look at the standings.
They should be okay.
End. Like the Packers have a 2-game lead on anybody who could challenge a wild card.
Oh yeah, no. This that's what I meant though when I said this is a huge. If they lose today, after San Francisco winds up winning, like the Packers might have been out of the playoff picture.
Yeah, because they play San Francisco next week. So you lose today, you lose to San Francisco. Now you're 6-5 with a loss to if the Cardinals keep winning. Yeah. So I can see how it goes. But with this win, at 7-3, it's tough to miss the playoffs.
I wanna ask a lot of our viewers here, the Packers fans, if you guys had lost this game, if the kick goes through, is there a big level of panic and nervousness?
Who cares? They won.
I'm just wondering.
Who cares? They won the game, right?
Yeah, we're talking about.
No, you can't just say they won the game.
You're talking about
why are we playing? Why would we play the game of Are you nervous if they lost to the Bears after they beat the Bears?
Because they had a 30-yard field goal to win the game.
Who gives a crap? I guess going forward we can say.
Paul, according to you, that's a momentum switch.
Yeah, no. The question is,
that's a momentum
does
changer.
this make you nervous about next week?
Like I'm saying, like if you had lost this game, if the kick goes through, do you feel like hope is lost? Are you nervous, or was it okay? Like we were saying, this was a must-win game for them.
If they had lost to the Bears, I would have been a little nervous if I were a Packer fan. Since they beat the Bears, I'm thinking, okay, let's clean it up and go beat San Francisco next week.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think that's what I think is the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe I was a little hard on you.
It's a valid question. Yeah. 30-yard field goal to win the game.
It's on me. But yeah, they're all saying a lot of frustrated would have been the answer from the.
Yeah, I didn't ask you. I asked them.
Fair enough. Honestly, fair enough. Okay.
Fine, Philly, don't answer. You don't have to answer. Fans don't answer if you don't want to.
Yeah. Okay.
I was asking a valid question, and you just immediately shot down out here.
Jackson.
Next time you ask
thank
me,
God.
next time you ask me a question, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm not even gonna answer it.
Well, it was a dumb question. It was a dumb question. All right, Ziggy. So give me. You watched the entire game.
It wasn't a dumb question.
Put in the poll. Put up a poll. All right.
I'm gonna get answers. I guarantee you.
So I'm looking ahead here. The Bears are in a tough spot right now in the NFC North. The Vikings with another great win, 8-2 on the season. The Lions are a problem. Like them against the AFC South and Detroit has been what? What's the combined score? Like 115-14, something like that.
Yeah, that's why it's unjustifiable to put him as number 2 in our power rankings.
Fair enough. So yeah, big win for the Packers today. They walk away with the 20-19 win over the Bears.
See, I think it's a fair question. 6-4, not nervous. Just gotta wait. Well, it's a legitimate question, Paul.
Sure. Okay, legitimate question.
Next time you ask me a question, I'm gonna freaking come at you like a.
Pause. All right. So 2019 Bears win over the Packers. We appreciate everyone who checked out this live. Any final thoughts here? Final takeaways, Ziggy, from the game today?
Not on that, but we could talk a couple other games if we want. We got some folks in here. I don't know if anyone else is interested, but that Ravens Steelers game.
We got a donation.
We got to mention it.
We got a donation, $2. Said Steelers won. I think who was it? Someone donated.
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. Steelers won. GG gave us $2.
What do you? So Jack, what's your reaction? I mean, you were glued to the game today. You said Chris Boswell should be MVP of the league. What were your thoughts on? I mean, you got to be feeling great now. Commanding lead in the AFC North.
I think we're the 3rd best team in the whole AFC.
And you've been saying that for a while now. So it has to feel a little validating for you.
I think we're a Super Bowl contender. I mean, everyone's going to come out here and say, oh, you can't score touchdowns. How about we beat the Ravens without scoring a touchdown? You know how unbelievable that is? Nobody else can do that besides us. This is probably the best defense since 2009 in Pittsburgh. Legitimate beasts.
Wow.
Legitimate beasts everywhere. We make Lamar look like he's a freaking 6-year-old out there when he plays against us. Again, I love George Pickens right now. He's
playing awesome.
Shaping into that star. Russ. He's shaping into that star that he's supposed to be. Russ, except for that one big mistake in the end zone today, but has for the most part been clean. The offense is very, very, very tolerable with Russell Wilson. I'd love to score more touchdowns. I would. But this team's on a different level right now with Russell Wilson at QB, under center, running the offense. And this defense is good enough to contain anybody. And I do believe we will get the number 1 seed in the AFC, and nobody's winning in Pittsburgh.
Well, you do control your destiny for the 1 seed, don't you?
I think this team is going.
Kansas City needs to lose 1 game. I'm sorry.
Casey's going to get crushed today in Buffalo. I think that this team's going to the Super Bowl, Pittsburgh. I'm dead serious. I think it's the best defense in football. I think the offense is stable enough with Russ. Pickens is one of the best receivers in the league. I think this team is going to the Super Bowl.
Wow. Wow. I mean, it was a big win. I think this is exactly what we.
I could be foreshadowing the bowl right here. Steelers Packers. This might be it right here.
Steelers Packers. But this is exactly what we come to expect from Steelers Ravens. It was what was it going into the 4th quarter? Like 12-10 Steelers.
No, everyone was saying Ravens going to blow us out.
Well, no, but what we've come to expect, I'm saying.
Oh,
like
we
knew coming into this game. Ziggy Zag was 48.5 or something like that, and Ziggy goes over, and me and Jack go. When Baltimore goes into Pittsburgh, it's just a sloppy football game. There are turnovers. The defense, it's a tough game. Like it's always like that, and Pittsburgh usually finds a way to win there. But this was impressive because Lamar and Derrick Henry have been dominant this year, and I know that we've seen it a lot when they go into Pittsburgh. They're the 2 most overrated
players in all of football.
But it's a testament to Mike Tomlin and the defense. Where if you're playing in Pittsburgh, I think any Steeler fan feels good in that situation, that defense is going to be able to shut down anyone.
I mean, does anything scream Steelers football more than forcing 3 turnovers, kicking 6 field goals, winning the game? No. I mean, you got to love it.
I mean, the thing about the Steelers defense is the way they develop guys is just unbelievable. I mean, remember, Joey Porter Jr., everybody knew he was going to the Steelers, right? Do you remember what the criticism of him was coming out of the draft?
No.
It was that he couldn't tackle. And you look at like game-winning situation. Joey Porter Jr. is coming at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has a credible claim to be the hardest guy to tackle in the NFL. And if you tackle him just wrong, you're getting hit with a 15-yard penalty. I don't know. That's just one example. It seems like every guy the Steelers defense drafts just turns into a star. And the Steelers defense and Chris Boswell were the stars of the game today. Chris Boswell hitting like a 57-yarder.
Yeah,
Who would have thought
Well,
that
is
he'd
that
be
2
the
games?
better
No,
kicker in a game between him and Justin Tucker?
I legitimately think Boswell could win the MVP.
Well, he's won you 2 games this year, right? Atlanta
Yes.
and Baltimore, right? We're both all Boswell points.
Yes, 18
Isn't
points.
he like 45 years old?
Boswell? I'm not
And he's
sure.
been in the league for a while. But I do think he looks like Mahomes, Josh Allen, Boswell, and like Hurts. Like Goff.
Pittsburgh, I got to give you credit, Jack. Pittsburgh's playing really well. And a lot of people were quick to discredit them earlier this year. But at this point in the season, they're not flashy. People were getting on me because we put out a reel where I said I'm not expecting 35 to 42 points a game, whatever it was, from Russ. And I know that they scored a lot against the Cowboys. They scored a lot last week. But generally speaking,
Jets.
Jets, yeah. I don't think many people... Yeah, sorry. I don't think a lot of people expect points from this Steeler offense, even though Russ brings more stability and more control to that offense. But what he does bring, as I said, is stability and control of that offense. So if you could score 20 a week when you have a defense that plays like that, it's like the Jets last year. The Jets scored 20 points. They were going like 10-7 or something, or 11-6. But the offense sucked, and they couldn't do that. So when you have someone who can do that for you, the Pittsburgh Steelers become very difficult to defeat, especially when they're in Acrisure Stadium, Heinz Field, whatever you want me to call it. And this was massive. How big is your lead now in the AFC North?
A game and a half.
A game and a half. Wait, what's
No. The Ravens are
more.
7-4. The Steelers are 8-2.
Yeah, you got
But
2.5
yeah.
game lead.
Oh, it's 2.5.
Yeah, and
Wow.
a lot of people, we've said it on the show before, a lot of people hate the schedule game, but when you get this late in the season, guys, we're in week 11.
The schedule
season's-
game looks a lot better for the Ravens than the Steelers. It's the 2.5 game lead that's doing the lifting.
No, 100%. But I'm
the
saying
fact
when
that
you're
we
in
still
week
gotta
12,
go,
you got 6 games left.
I know, but the fact that
Yeah.
you still gotta go to Baltimore is pretty brutal.
Yeah, and they might win in
And
Baltimore,
Philly.
but you're still got a game lead on them.
Baltimore, Philly, the Bengals.
Oh, it's a tough schedule. That's why I was saying if I had to pick any of the current leaders in the AFC divisions to fall off, I would pick the Steelers because of the schedule.
2.5 games though is a
But
decent
that's
lead.
big. I mean, this was a huge game, huge win.
Yeah,
And Russ is playing well.
I think we're gonna get the top seed in the AFC. I'm serious. I think playoffs go through Pittsburgh.
Do you think that? So real quick, back to the NFC North for a second here. Vikings get a win today. They really dominated the Titans. But although I'll acknowledge we had a lot of fortunate calls in this game. That look, most of them I thought were penalties, but we had at 1.7 first downs off of penalties, which leads the league. I don't know what the final number was, but it was the most in the game this season.
We won because we blew up Will Levis.
We blew up Will Levis. Like they had a 98-yard touchdown, which was unfortunate. I was watching. I was like, "Are we seriously doing this?" But this was a pretty dominant win for the Vikings. On the other side, the Lions. Yeah, I don't even know what the final score is. I stopped watching.
It was a scoregami. It was 52-6.
Yeah, 52-6 in this one. So the NFC North teams, outside of the Green Bay Chicago game, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive wins for them. It's looking very much like we're going to get 3 NFC North teams in the playoffs here, which is, I think a lot of people thought was possible heading into the season, but maybe not the Vikings entering that mix. So I'm just worried. Detroit just looks so good. Who's giving them a game this year?
They're
the
unbeatable,
Rams
Detroit.
And the Vikings?
And the
Bucks.
Buccaneers beat them.
And the Bucks beat them. And the Bucks beat them.
They're not beatable, Detroit. You can't beat them.
I think the 2 teams with the best chance to beat Detroit are the Vikings and the Packers.
Like in the NFC or just
Hey,
in
the
NFC.
Cardinals played him within a touchdown, and
That
that
game
was
wasn't
a
close.
weak version of the Cardinals.
That game wasn't close. I know the score was close, but if you watch that game,
No, I know.
It's not a good
I
game.
know.
I think the 2 best chances are Philly and San Francisco.
Philly and San Fran.
Yeah. I think Philly and San Fran more so
If
than
there
the
are any
Packers or
Lions
Vikings.
fans in the comment section, let us know what you're thinking. You know what? I really think when every team is on, probably San Fran, but Green Bay's ability to put points on the board is
Green
probably
Bay, of course, could beat them.
Yeah, Green Bay I think is the one with their ceiling is the closest to matching Detroit if the game were to get out of hand.
And if one
offensively.
team were to, I think Detroit's unbeatable though. Seriously, dude, you can't beat them.
They're really good. This is someone here 40 phenoms. There's no way the Packers beat the Lions or the Vikings. I don't know. All right, so
Packers could beat the Vikings.
we could wrap this one up here. Is there any final thoughts, Ziggy?
This was a pretty solid 1 p.m. slate. I mean, there were 2 really good games in it. Not exactly the games I was expecting, but I'll close with the Packers. Look, you won. It's nice to win. It makes me unhappy that you won. I can't believe how you won. Sort of with the Steelers, actually. Both the teams that honestly I kind of want to lose just won in ways that exasperated me. Like this was a tough weekend to watch football if you were Ziggy. But
we won though.
Good.
You gotta be happy that we won.
Yeah, no, but I didn't watch the Vikings win because I can't stand watching this Vikings team right now. I'm glad I didn't see that
Ziggy.
Nick Westbrook Akine 99-yard touchdown.
Get your terrible towel out.
Here we
Ziggy.
go from a couple Lions fans. As a Lions fan, no one in the NFC scares me. I think only team that might give the game is the Ravens. That's from 40 Phenom. Well, that's the Super Bowl.
Ravens.
That was the Super Bowl you said would be fun to watch.
That team stinks.
And then from Key Ozzy, I'm a Lions fan, but Philly matches us the most in the 49ers, but not really worried.
Do you
Isn't
know
that
what?
crazy? Like Lions fans, no fear.
You know, I honestly think the 2 most likely to beat them are. I'd probably say Buffalo and Pittsburgh.
I think the Lions would smack around you guys.
No way.
You guys wouldn't have a chance.
Not with the defense.
I'm setting that line at 9.5.
Yeah, we win outright. We'd play a slow game. We'd play defense. We'd do our thing on offense.
So you throw out a quick poll before we head out. Like, who's the biggest threat to the Lions? Maybe throw
Sure.
in the...
Put the Steelers in there.
No, let's do NFC. Do the Packers, Vikings,
Do-
49ers, and
Put the
Eagles.
Steelers in there too.
No, just do NFC. Like
Why?
Steelers.
You got to win the Super Bowl too. You got to do the AFC team.
All right, comment if you think the Steelers are the biggest threat to the Lions.
We're sitting here at 8-2.
I think that no one's disrespecting the Steelers.
I think if there's one team who could beat them, it's us with the way we play defense.
Oh, jeez.
We just beat the Ravens. Are the Lions that much better than the Ravens?
All right, you know what? I'm titling the poll biggest threat to Lions in NFC, but I put in the Steelers. We got Packers, Eagles, 49ers, and Steelers. So go ahead and vote.
Oh, no Vikings in there? Are you kidding me?
We're better than you.
But the Vikings, I'm sorry, the Vikings are not the biggest threat to the Lions. I don't want to hear
Yeah,
it.
we're better
Justin
than you.
Zerata with a super chat says, tuning in from 30,000 feet and flying back to Vegas. Thanks for making the flight great. Flying to Vegas would be fun, man.
This might be the first time anybody's watched the Paul Farrington show in the air.
Got some blackjack going on
From
later.
Ryu Hitsuya says, horrid game by the Pack, but we won. Bears are cursed. Yeah, like it really is kind of unbelievable how they...
It is
finally
unbelievable the Steelers are beating out the 49ers for biggest threat to the Lions in the NFC.
I mean,
I think it's obviously the 49ers.
Are we not better
I'll
than the
say.
49ers?
You're not in the NFC.
Who's winning the poll?
The Packers are like 70%.
Oh, okay.
What are the
It's the Paul Farrington show. The Packers win every poll.
Oh, my
What are the
gosh.
Steelers at? I know what percent.
7.
It's actually higher than I would have expected.
Watching Detroit week in and week out right now, I really think they're the most fun team in the league to watch. Even though they're a division rival, I think even Packers and Bears fans would say like they're a fun team. And Dan Campbell at the helm, like he's always doing something that's getting your attention. The Jared Goff, I don't even want to say resurgence anymore. He's just playing really good football. Jared Goff just being very, very careful with the football outside of the Houston game. And what did Amon-Ra end with today? Didn't Amon-Ra go for like 160 something?
35 fantasy points.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. I think Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson, Ziggy. Who do you think's a better running back?
Whoever's behind
Gibbs
the line.
has shown more in the NFL at this point, so it's hard not to go.
I mean,
with
we were
Gibbs.
talking about that during the game today, and Zach said, well, to be fair, if you put Bijan in that Lions offense, Bijan's probably a monster. And I tend to agree with him.
Yeah,
Bijan,
but, I mean, Bijan, so like that's true up to a point, but like when Saquon was on the Giants, I mean, you saw that he was a great player. Bijan on the Lions, I'm sure he does much better than he does in Atlanta, but what we've seen from Gibbs in Detroit, at a certain point, you have to look at what they've done.
The Stuckman with a $2 donation. It's PFS, the Packer fan show. Get it right.
Rich Martin goes Lions 70, Packers 10. What were we just talking about before?
Did you guys ever hear about did you guys ever hear the joke about, or not even the joke, the story about what Walter Payton experienced when he went up to heaven? Did you ever hear this?
Before we say that, I've got a quick story to tell. It's a little joke.
Oh, please.
Here's how this joke goes. If you're enjoying the show, feel free to leave a comment, or talk in the chat. And biggest of all, subscribe. We just cleared 15,000 subscribers. We're grateful to all of you. We've had unbelievable growth. I was checking. This time last year, we had 1,900. So we've like 8x'd our channel size in about a year, and it's all thanks to you all. So if you're enjoying it, if you like this live, you're enjoying, Stuckman calls us the Packer fan show. If you like watching Vikings fans be miserable and a Steelers fan wear a cheese head and have a great time, this is the show for you.
Thanks,
Oh, yeah,
Ziggy.
brother.
Good to
Yeah,
see you.
good
I was saying
stuff.
when Walter Payton, went up to heaven, he was greeted by some angels, and they walk him in through the pearly gates, and they lead him to his house. And it's a really nice house. It's a really nice, small little cottage. And he walks inside, and there's giant Bears signs, a giant C, a neon light, the Chicago C. He looks around, and he's just got basically any sort of decoration with the Bears you could have. Signed jerseys, his greatest moments on loop in the background on TV. And Walter Payton looks around, and he goes like, guys, this is great. I really appreciate this. Like, thank you. You know how much it meant to me to be a Chicago Bear. And he goes over to a window, and he looks out, and maybe 8 miles off in the distance, he just sees this gigantic castle, green and yellow, Packers flags flying everywhere, ice sculptures. It's just unbelievable. And giant picture of Bart Starr hanging from the very top. And he looks over at the Angels. He goes, guys, this is great. I love this house. The cottage is amazing, and I'm very happy here. But why did Bart Starr get such a nice house? Like, what happened there? Just curious. And the Angels look around. They kind of start snickering to themselves. They're like, Walter, that's not Bart's house. That's God's house. God might just be a Green Bay Packers fan.
All right, we're putting out a poll. Should Paul stick to sports media and stay away from comedy? Right now, we're at
Come on, I thought that was a good
Yes
story.
is winning by 51%.
I thought that was a good story. I think people will enjoy that in this.
That's funny, but I could
I
do
don't think
better.
one person has commented about this story. I think people have muted us because of that story.
I guarantee you that people will start saying
we
that's
just
great.
lost 100 viewers while you told that story.
But I think people, what the problem with most people is it's funny, but most people, including myself, don't have much of an attention span. So you got to go with just shorter, dad jokes.
W joke.
Oh yeah, now that the joke's over, it's skyrocketing. People hate this joke.
There's scripture. I mean, guys, yeah, you're about to get lit up in the comment section here.
No, you got to tell a shorter joke, not like a story.
Read the comments, man. People love it.
So far, it's a decent joke.
Hey, it was all right. We'll take all right.
There's better jokes out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going for gold here. I'm not trying to be a stand-up comedian. I'm just telling a joke that I thought was enjoyable.
You're not even going for copper with that one.
All right, we'll wrap it up there then with the joke. We appreciate everyone in the comment section who's been
Wasn't comedy with scripture. That's funny.
Dude, people love it. Appreciate it. What is this, the third time now I've gone to end the show on the live here? We appreciate everybody who came in the chat today and engaged with us. We had a really fun day in the preview show. We did the live. We're going to try and do more lives as the season goes on. And we'll have some more reactions to Week 11 because there are big games going on right now. We'll have a lot more from the Week 11 slate.
Oh, this guy goes, hold on, before we wrap it up here.
Sure.
Stuckman. Oh, he goes, you want a real joke? The Chicago Bears. You can, what was that shirt they had in Chicago? You can kiss my butt kiss and suck my dicka. That's what I like, something like
All
that.
right.